Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to show you how to replace the ball bearings from a Smart Roadster. We're going to change the front wheel ball bearing. Here I have my brand new set. It's from SKF, made in Italy. I chose this model because they are very good. So let's get started. Well, as a first step, we have to lift the car. I've used my lifter here and also a bigger one just for safety. And we have to remove the 3 bolts from the wheel so we can access the original ball bearing. Let's see how to do it. Okay, so I've removed the wheel and now I remove the spacer. And now what we see here is my sport brakes from Tarox. Very good sport brakes. I'm going to remove first the brake pads, then the brake caliper, and then we're going to remove the brake disc to access the ball bearing here. So the first thing to do to remove the brake pads is to use number 17 and a number 13 head to open the brake caliper. I'm sorry I don't know the proper name of the tools, but I'm trying to make this video in English, so okay, then we're going to rotate and open. This bolt was very tight. I finally loosened it and now I can easily rotate with just one hand. Okay, now we can remove this bolt and finally open the caliper to remove the braking pads. These pads are very good, red stuff ceramic from EBC. Very efficient brakes. Okay, what we're gonna do next is remove the entire brake caliper. So the first thing we do is close the bolt here again and then remove the entire brake caliper. I'm just placing the bolt in place and I'm ready to unscrew these very tightened bolts here, 1 and 2. And to do this we're gonna need a big tool. So to loosen those bolts we're going to use a big tool. I'm using a Micrometric wrench. I set it to maximum strength so it will not move. And then I used a E20 head, but actually I should use an E18, but I don't have, but the E20 will work anyways. So I'm going to loosen those bolts that keep the caliper in place. Okay, now that I loosen them, I can just use my bare hands to remove these bolts. So the 2 bolts are removed and then we can simply remove the brake caliper. In order to do not damage this cable, you should place them somewhere so that they are not hanging and pulling this. So I put the brake caliper here to do not damage the brake tube, and then now I can simply remove the brake disc. And here it is, the old ball bearing. We're going to replace with this one, brand new. To remove the ball bearing we need to unscrew this big one, and we're going to use an E14 head, and once again it's going to be very tough. It's loosened now, so I can use just one hand, and now we're going to remove it. Okay, this one will be trashed away because it can be used only once, since when you tighten it up it will deform, so it will not be reusable once again. I mean, you can use it if you want by simply twisting 90 degrees more than the recommended force which is 115 Newton meters, but the best thing to do is to replace it. And since we have a brand new one here, we're going to totally replace with a fresh one. Now to remove the ball bearing here, we just have to pull the entire body and it will come out. So we remove the old one, and compared to the new one from SKF, this seems in a poor quality. See how the SKF is much thicker and looks like a much better product. I can see the ball bearings inside and here I can't. So luckily we're going to change with a better one. I cleaned the shaft from all the grease that was there, and I'm going to apply new grease, copper grease, which will withstand high temperatures. So I applied a little bit of copper grease and now I expand it on the shaft. Not quite sure if it's really needed to do, but it won't harm. Okay. I put some grease also here on the ball bearing, and now I'm going to put it in place. It's not gonna be very easy, so I will need both my hands. Okay, now it's in place, and we need to secure it with this big bolt. We have to torque this at 115 Newton meters using our Micrometric wrench. Okay, our wrench is set at 120 Newton meter, and we're ready to tighten this bolt. It's well tightened and now it's perfectly in place. Now we have to apply the cap here. Okay, so this little body here is the dust cap. It's pretty hard to insert, but somehow we're gonna make it. The cap is in place, and now we can start reinstalling the brake disc and the brake caliper and the wheel. Now the brake caliper is back in its place, and we have to tighten it at 115 Newton meters. The brake pads are back in their place, and we're ready to close the caliper. But first we make sure that the two springs here touch on the bottom and on the top. Okay, they're touching perfectly. So it means the pads are correctly aligned. Make sure the springs are in the right position, otherwise you will hear noise coming from the wheels. And now we're done. We're ready to put the spacers, if you have, back in place, and the wheel, and the job is done. We will have to tighten these bolts at 110 Newton meters to firmly secure the wheel to the axle. Now the final touch, we tied the wheel bolts at 110 Newton meters, and we're good to go. With a brand new ball bearing, now we go out for a test. Okay guys, we are done. Remember to reset your wrench to 0, otherwise it will be damaged. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, please remember to like the video and hit the subscribe button below. Thank you and see you soon.